Hello everybody, and welcome back. Last time, after a lengthy conversation with King Hydros, we obtained the Grind Synergy, which will now allow us to access the Great Western Sea. And we also, off-screen, got a few new items from the Lemurian Lucky Spring. So, I'm going to quickly show all of them. So, first off, I got the Aegis Shield, the Erebus Armor, the Hestia Blade and the Crown of Glory for Felix. Jenna, well, I got her a Crown of Glory, and I also got a wild code, but I'm not certain who I want to give that to yet. As for Sheba, well, I got her the Let Us Bracelet and the Brilliant Circlet, mostly because it took me forever just to get 3 Crowns of Glory, and I figured that Sheba has already a fairly decent amount of synergy on her own, so she will not be needing the synergy recovery as much as the other 3. And as for Pierce, well, of course, I got him the Crown of Glory and I got him the Mighty Axe. And I do have a few remaining lucky medals, so I might try to get a few items later on. But for now, let's actually take this opportunity to use the Grind Synergy that we just obtained. And now we can actually gain access to one section of Lemuria that we have yet to explore. I believe it's right through here, yeah. And we can see that there are a few other Lemurian ships here. But anyways, here we have ancient Lemuria. And we have what looks like a sunken Lucky Spring, and this statue, which looks exactly the same as the ones in Mercury Lighthouse. So there's not much to do in ancient Lemuria, but we can get one Mercury Djinn, though he will try to run. So we just use Tremor right here. There we go. Felix found the Mercury Djinn Rhyme. Alright, so let's quickly go over our new Djinn. So, Rhyme. His spell effect is that he seals a target synergy with a 100% accuracy. So, depending on the enemy, this is an incredible ability, and it is pretty much a copy of the Jupiter Djinn Love from the first game. As for the set stat bonus, it provides a plus 10 to your base HP and plus 6 to your base synergy. But now that we technically got our, well, 7th Mercury Djinn, that also means that pretty much any character can hold up to 7 Djinns, which actually gives us access to a bunch of new ranks throughout all of the dual elemental classes, as well as the 2 remaining tri-elemental classes, the Samurai and the White Mage. So we have a lot to go through. So first, let's go over the dual elemental classes, specifically the ones that have obtained a new synergy. So, first off, we have the Brute class. Both Felix and Jenna can now reach the Berserker. They require 6 Djinn of the opposing partner's element and 1 of their own. As for the stats, they receive a 20% boost in HP and then a 10% boost in every other stat aside from luck. But, more important than that, they have gained access to the upgraded version of Planet Diver, Planetary. It is a Mars-based attack with an additional 98 points of damage, has a cost of 19 synergy and a range of 1. So, an incredibly powerful move. Alright, on to the Apprentice. Felix can reach it right away, he can reach the Conjurer, while Sheba will require a few more Djinn. Now, as for the stat boost, he receives a 30% boost in HP, and then a 20% boost in synergy and a 20% boost in synergy and agility, and then a 10% boost in attack and defense. And the new synergy that he has unlocked is the upgraded version of Astral Blast, Thundermine, which is a Jupiter-based attack with an additional 85 points of damage, a cost of 16 and a range of 1. And then on the other side we also have the Conjurer on the Page class, which is available to Jenna and at a later point Sheba. The stat boost is pretty much the same, and she also gains access to Thundermine. Alright, up next we have the Swordsman classes. First off, we'll go over the Venus Swordsman. Felix can reach the Guardian rank. He receives a 30% boost in HP, a 10% boost in synergy, 10% boost in attack, defense, and agility. And he gains access to the upgraded version of Cutting Edge, Plumage, which is a Mercury based attack with an additional 80 points of damage, a cost of 15, and a range of 1. Pretty much the same applies for Jenna, only her rank is called the Lumineer. She gains the same stat boost and the Plumage synergy as well. And then we have all the other dual elemental classes that do not get any new synergies. First off, in the Hermit class, Sheva and Pierce can reach the Sage. They receive a 20% boost in HP and then a 10% boost in every other stat. Up next we have the Jupiter Pilgrim. Sheva can now reach the Fire Monk rank. She receives a 30% boost in HP and then a 20% boost in every other stat aside from luck. As for the Jupiter Seer, she can reach the Druid. She receives a 30% boost in HP and then a 20% boost in every other stat. Then on the Mercury Pilgrim we have the Water Monk class rank for Pierce. He receives a 30% boost in HP and then a 20% boost in every other stat aside from luck. And then we have the Mercury Seer's Druid, which Pierce can now reach. He receives the same stat boost that I just mentioned, 30% in HP and 20% in everything else. And then we finally gain access to the two tri-elemental classes. First off we have the Samurai. Both Felix and Jenna can reach that class with the Jin that are shown on screen. Now, as for the stats, the Samurai has outstanding HP at 190%, quite poor synergy, taking into account that most tri-elemental classes only have 2 ranks, standard attack, slightly below standard defense, and agility, and quite poor luck. And the Samurai is a bit of an odd one, because at first it looks like it has a bunch of new synergies, but most of them are actually ones we've seen before. For example, the Guardian and Protector synergies, even though they have different names, are pretty much the Guard and Protect, and the Demon Spear and Angel Spear, even though they have such cool names, they are pretty much the Impact and High Impact synergies. They do have a few new synergies with the Rockfall and Lava Shower lines, which are pretty much the Venus and Mars synergies, and the Magic Shell and Magic Shield are also Ward and Resist. They do have the Dragon Cloud and Demon Knight synergies, which will become upgraded once we reach the later rank in the Samurai. Alright, on to the White Mage class. Both Sheva and Pierce can reach it. When it comes to the stats, they have standard HP, outstanding synergy, quite poor attack defense, and standard agility, and fairly good luck, I guess. Luck never goes any higher than either 120% or 130%. As for the synergies, well, they have access to the Cure Poison, the Prism and Plasma series for damage, basically. Then a few support synergies such as the Ward, the Doll synergies, and the Wish synergies, among many others. Alright, so with that we are pretty much done with Lemuria. The only possible reason we could have to come back is to either get rid of a few more lucky medals. But other than that, we are done. Okay. So, I think it is now time that we actually leave the Sea of Time. Unfortunately, we cannot actually leave it from the same place we entered. Because if you recall, once we defeated Poseidon, he actually caused a few spires to come out from the ground. Not that it really mattered, because the entrance from the Sea of Time was completely guarded by currents, and the currents actually led us into Poseidon, so we could not come back even if we tried to. So it is quite opportune for us that we actually have the grind synergy, because otherwise we will be stuck here forever. But on the upside, if we ever do want to come back to Lemuria, we do have a shortcut right here. so we'll just let the currents lead us out. And here we are, back at the Great Eastern Sea. Alright, so I mentioned that our next destination is Treasure Isle, and it is indeed, but my inventory is unfortunately quite cluttered, because another downside that the Lemurian Lucky Spring has compared to the Tolby one is that Lemuria does not have any shops where you can sell any items that you may not need anymore. So with that in mind, I'm going to make a quick stop in Izumo so that I can sell a few items, but I'll do that off screen, and I'll see you guys back at Treasure Isle. Welcome back. Alright. So, a couple of things. First off, I pretty much rearranged our genes back to normal. And one more thing that I want to mention regarding Treasure Isle, specifically regarding the overworld section. If you walk around long enough, you can actually encounter a few enemies that are actually quite stronger than the enemies that you would usually encounter throughout the Great Eastern Sea. Most of the enemies throughout the Great Eastern Sea are level 20 to 23, but the enemies that you can find here are actually 31. And they're also the very same enemies that you can encounter throughout the Great Western Sea, which makes me think that maybe at some point during development, the Treasure Isle was supposed to be located on the other side of the world. But anyways, for now we'll ignore that and head into the cave itself. And right away here we have a couple of chests, which are unfortunately empty. But oddly enough, even though the ones here are also empty, well, I'll get back to that in a moment. First off, here we have a new enemy, the Turtle Dragon. It is level 30, it has 340 HP, no synergy, 305 attack, 100 defense, 117 agility and 15 luck. It has a Venus and Jupiter resistance of 100, a Mars resistance of 25 and a Mercury resistance of 175, and a Mercury elemental power of 115. It normally yields 424 experience points, which then become 551 if we finish him off with a Mars gene. It drops 251 coins, which then become 326, and there is a 1 in 128 chances that then become a 1 in 32 that it will drop a Blessed Mace, which is an artifact weapon which I'll go into more detail after the battle. As for its commands, it has the basic attack and the Aqua Breath monster skill, and in this case it is accompanied by a Harridan. So let's take care of that quickly. Alright, so let's quickly go over the Blessed Mace, shall we? The Blessed Mace has an attack boost of 126, it can be used from your inventory to recover 200 HP, and it also provides a passive HP recovery of 2 every turn. Alright, so what I was saying, even though the chests on the first two rooms were completely open, and even though these ones are not particularly guarded by anything else, for whatever reason, they're not empty, and we got a couple of coins and a lucky medal. So the implication from the fact that the chests are empty, as well as these ones, is that, well, if you recall, way back at the Ankle Ruins we also had a couple of chests that were completely empty. And from that we can infer that those chests, their content was stolen by Briggs and his pirates. For one, the Ankle Ruins are pretty much right next to Champa, and the Treasure Isle is rumored to hold a bunch of treasure, so it's implied that it was Briggs and his pirates that took the treasure. Anyway, right there we have a red button, and if we step on it, the spires here pop out of the ground. So if we did not get the grind synergy up to this point, this is as far as we can go in Treasure Isle. Luckily we do. For now we're going to have to ignore those 6 treasure chests because we can't get them right now, but we will soon enough. Well, and we also have another new enemy. This is a Horned Ghost. It is level 31. It has 236 HP, 32 synergy, 268 attack, 78 defense, 116 agility, and 5 luck. It has a Venus resistance of 48, a Mars resistance of 72, a Jupiter resistance of 7, and a Mercury resistance of 100. And it has a Mercury elemental power of 95. It normally yields 192 experience points, which then become 258 if we finish it off with a Jupiter gem. It drops 166 coins, which then become 215, and there is a 1 in 32 chances that then become a 1 in 8 that it will drop an elixir. As for its commands, it has a basic attack, the Haunting monster skill, and the Ice Horn and Hail Prism synergies. So on its own, it's a very easy enemy to defeat. Alright. And here we have a fairly easy puzzle. All we have to do is move the stump around, but making sure that we do not push the stump over the button, at least from this side of the wall of rocks. Because if we do, we will be forced to use grind on it. And once we do, even if we happen to push the stump over the button again, the spire will not reappear. So we will have to leave the room and try all over again. So let's quickly just move here. There we go. We got another Horned Ghost. Alright. And here we have 3 spires. The correct one to go is this one, because it will allow you to progress further and it will not block us from getting what's in that chest. So, unfortunately, similar to the Madra Catacombs, the Treasure Isle is another one of those dungeons which we'll not be able to complete in one go, at least as we are right now. But anyways, on to another thing. Here we got an artifact item, the Jester's Armlet. It has a defense boost of 39 and it boosts synergy by 30 points. So quite a useful item. In fact, I think I may give that one to Jenna for now. But yes, unfortunately we will have to come back to the Treasure Isle later. But there are still a few things that we can do on this time around. Alright. First off, let's go. Let's take care of the Harridans. There we go. And now that we're on this side, we can finally get the 6 chests that we saw at the very beginning. And they do contain a bunch of useful items. First off, we have a cookie, a Psy Crystal, 911 coins, a Sylph Feather, some Stardust, and finally a Rusty Axe. So quite a bunch of useful items. So let's quickly go over that axe, shall we? The Viking's Axe has an attack boost of 137, its unleash is called Stun Bolt, it deals 47 extra Jupiter damage and it may inflict stun. Alright, so there's only one more thing left for us to do in Treasure Isle right now. And it is right through here. So we have a chest which contains the 6th mimic of the game. This one is level 34. It has 879 HP, 76 synergy, 333 attack, 103 defense, 196 agility, and 18 luck. Its elemental stats are the same as any other Jin, as any other Mimic. It normally uses 1336 experience points, which then become 1736 if we finish it off with a Mars Jin. It drops 667 coins, which then become 880, and he has a guaranteed drop of a Power Bread. As for its commands, it has the basic attack, the ability Siren, Sleep, and Curse synergies, and its new synergy is the Nettle synergy, which deals a Venus-based attack with a power rating of 140. Alright, so let's quickly take care of it, and of course I'm going to try and go for the EXP and coin boost. And now that we got the Crown of Glory, the synergies such as Odyssey and Diamondberg are not that expensive anymore, luckily. So the Crown of Glory is really useful in kind of making up that pact, countering the high cost of those synergies. Alright, so let's use Char and let's boost Jenna, and that should be it. Hopefully she will not fall asleep. Alright. There we go. And we got some power. So, as I was saying, yeah, now that we took care of the Mimic, we are pretty much done, because as soon as we go through this room, we are pretty much stuck. If we had the Lift synergy from the first game, we would be able to proceed further, but we don't. So we are done with Treasure Isle. Alright, so our next destination now is the Gondwan Cliffs. Because if we go there, now that we got the Grind synergy, we should be able to finally access the Great Western Sea. So I'll meet you guys back at the Gondwan Cliffs. Welcome back! So here we are, right next to the Gondwan Cliffs, and I just noticed something. While we were exploring the Treasure Isle, we actually managed to avoid one enemy. And since it will be quite a while before we go there again, I figured I'd just go over that one enemy right now. So this enemy is actually an old one. It is a recurring enemy from the first game. It is the Cannibal Ghoul. It is level 31. It has 249 HP, no synergy, 274 attack, 82 defense, 80 agility, and 1 luck. It has a Venus resistance of 25, a Mars resistance of 7, a Jupiter resistance of 48, and a Mercury resistance of 72. And it has a Venus elemental power of 100. It normally yields 194 experience points, which then become 252 if we finish it off with a margin. It drops 160 coins, which then become 208 if... And there is a 1 in 32 chances that then become a 1 in 8 that it will drop an antidote. As for its commands, it has the basic attack and the Cannibal Fang, Decompose, and Ally Surge monster skill. I'm not going to go over all the enemies that can be encountered in the land section of Treasure Isle, because we will be running into them throughout the Great Western Sea. Oh, and also, I also remember, there was yet another enemy in the Treasure Isle. So let's go over that one, shall we? The Earth Golem. It is also level 31. It has 298 HP, no synergy, 299 attack, 114 defense, 70 agility, and 5 luck. It has a Venus resistance of 193, a Mars and Mercury resistance of 100, and a Jupiter resistance of 25. And it has a Venus elemental power of 120. It normally yields 218 experience points, which then become 283 if we finish him off with a Jupiter gem. It drops 183 coins, which then become 237, and there is a 1 in 128 chances that then become a 1 in 32 that it will drop a Giant Axe. As for its commands, it has a basic attack and the Truncheon Fist monster skill. So, now that I mentioned the Giant Axe, let's quickly go over it, shall we? The Giant Axe has an attack boost of 114, its unleash is called Meltdown, it deals 47 extra Mars damage, and it may lower a target's defense by 25%. Alright, now that we're done with that, let's finally head into the Great Western Sea. Alright. Here we go. And here we are, finally at the Great Western Sea. And unfortunately, similar to the Great Western Sea, as soon as we gain access to it, it is actually quite hard to know exactly where to go. We know what our objective is. It is to find the Jupiter and Mars lighthouses, but we don't know exactly where they are. So before we do any of that, I actually want to do a little bit of exploring. And first I want to head to this shallow spot right here, because similar to the ones in the Great Eastern Sea, we can also obtain a few items. And since we are also at a new section of the world, there are new enemies that we may encounter. So for that reason I'm not going to be cutting the sailing, at least for now. And speaking of new enemies, here we have one. This is a Hydra. It is level 30, it has 276 HP, no synergy, 288 attack, 82 defense, 102 agility and 12 luck. It has a Venus and Jupiter resistance of 100, a Mars resistance of 25 and a Mercury resistance of 175. And it has a Mercury elemental power of 150. It normally yields 408 experience points, which then become 530 if we finish it off with a Martian. It drops 317 coins, which then become 412, and there is a 1 in 16 chances that then become a 1 in 4 that it will drop an antidote. As for its commands, it has a basic attack and the triple chomp and slaver monster skills, which the Aqua Hydra also had. So probably the toughest enemy in the sea section of the Great Western Sea, but on its own it's nothing too tough. So hopefully we'll run into all the new enemies in the Great Western Sea, and that way I can just edit out the sailing sections. But anyways, here we are. Wait. Okay, there we go. And of course our inventory is full. So let's see what can I get rid of. Okay, let's give this lucky medal to Jenna. It does annoy me that for whatever reason the inventory system does not immediately give you any new item and stack it into the already existing stock. It should have given the lucky medal right away to Jenna, but since Felix had an open space, it gave it to him. But anyways. We got a rusty sword. So let's quickly go over that one, shall we? The Pirate Saber has an attack boost of 136, its unleash is called Scorpion Fish, it deals 43 extra Mars damage and it may inflict deadly poison. Alright, so yeah, the Pirate Saber is actually a fantastic weapon, especially one that I want to give to Jenna. So I will take that to Sunshine off screen. But for now, I actually want to see what's in the island right here. Similar to what we did while we explored the Great Eastern Sea, you can always get some piece of information from the small islands surrounding the continents. But anyway, there we get a nice view of Tundaria Tower, this time from the other side. So let's head to that island near the edge of the world. And yeah, as you can see, the Turtle Dragon can also be encountered here. Hopefully that will kill him. And it did. And we got an antidote, which we have to throw away. So, if you see me ignoring some of the shallow spots, it's because not all of them contain items. So, I'll be ignoring all of those that don't have any. We're getting there. Well, at least we now have a new enemy. This is a Gilman. It is level 30, it has 234 HP, no synergy, 291 attack, 89 defense, 142 agility and 11 luck. It has a Venus and Jupiter resistance of 100, a Mars resistance of 72 and a Mercury resistance of 127. And it has a Mercury elemental power of 100. It normally yields 330 experience points, which then become 429 if we finish it off with a margin. It drops 210 coins, which then become 273, and there is a 1 in 32 chances that then become a 1 in 8 that it will drop a crystal powder. As for its commands, it has a basic attack and the Hydro Slash monster skill, similar to the Merman. And there. And of course, we're caught by surprise. Let's take them out quickly. Alright, we are almost there. And there we have yet another new enemy. This is a Sea Fowl. He is level 30, he has 191 HP, no synergy, 262 attack, 61 defense, 168 agility and 10 luck. He has a Venus resistance of 127, a Mars resistance of 48, a Jupiter resistance of 7 and a Mercury resistance of 72. And it has a Jupiter elemental power of 110. It normally yields 261 experience points, which then become 339 if we finish it off with a Jupiter Gene. It drops 172 coins, which then become 223, and there's a 1 in 32 chances that then become a 1 in 8 that it will drop a Sacred Feather. As for its commands, it has the basic attack and the Wing Beat monster skill, and it is accompanied by a Guildman, and we were caught by surprise. Well, at least we do get to heal some HP and synergy, so that is fairly useful. Alright. And here we are finally. Maybe we'll run into some of those enemies that can actually be encountered in the land section of Treasure Isle. We'll see. Yes, 2 of them. Alright, let's see. One moment. Alright, so first off we have the Slayer. He is level 31. He has 220 HP, no synergy, 300 attack, 90 defense, 158 agility and 14 luck. He has a Venus resistance of 127, a Mars and Mercury resistance of 100 and a Jupiter resistance of 72. And it has a Venus elemental power of 100. It normally yields 344 experience points, which then become 447 if we finish it off with a Jupiter Gene. It drops 254 coins, which then become 330, and there is a 1 in 32 chances that then become a 1 in 8 that it will drop a Sleep Bomb. As for its commands, it has the basic attack and the Poison, Sting and Kill Sting monster skills. And then we have the Wolfkin. It is level 32. It has 213 HP, no synergy, 309 attack, 89 defense, 174 agility and 9 luck. It has a Venus and Jupiter resistance of 72, a Mars resistance of 48 and a Mercury resistance of 100. And it has a Jupiter elemental power of 85. It normally yields 337 experience points, which then become 438 if we finish him off with a Mars Gene. It drops 219 coins, which then become 284. And there is a 1 in 16 chances that then become a 1 in 4 that it will drop a Weasel's Claw. As for its commands, it has the basic attack and the Aura Flash and Shriek monster skills. And we go first, nice. So hopefully we can actually take them out in the first turn, because the Kill Sting synergy monster skill is actually kinda scary, as well as the Aura Flash monster skill. Alright, will we encounter any other new enemies? Yes, we will, in fact. Alright. First off, we have the Pteranodon. It is level 31. It has 242 HP, no synergy, 291 attack, 100 defense, 166 agility, and 8 luck. It has a Venus resistance of 127, a Mars resistance of 48, a Jupiter resistance of 7, and a Mercury resistance of 72. And it has a Jupiter elemental power of 110 and a Mercury elemental power of 95. It normally yields 341 experience points, which then become 441 if we finish him off with a Jupiter gem. It drops 174 coins, which then become 226, and there is a 1 in 16 chances that then become a 1 in 4 that it will drop a nut. As for its commands, it has a basic attack and the Ice Breath and Banshee Howl monster skill. And the other new enemy is the Wargold. It is level 31, it has 202 HP, no synergy, 303 attack, 78 defense, 181 agility, and 9 luck. It has a Venus resistance of 100, a Mars and Mercury resistance of 72, and a Jupiter resistance of 48. It normally yields 321 experience points, which then become 417 if we finish it off with a Jupiter gem. It drops 226 coins, which then become 293, and there is a 1 in 16 chances that then become a 1 in 4 that it will drop an oil drop. As for its commands, it has the basic attack, the double step monster skill, and the defend command. So with that we have 4 enemies. We're actually just missing 1. But for now, let's just take care of these ones. And we got an oil drop, which we cannot carry. Alright. Here we are at the southwest Attica Islet. So I want to quickly set up a shortcut for mind read. The sea west of here spills over a massive waterfall. You really start to appreciate the grandeur of nature if you see that, I can tell you. My body thinks I'm nuts to risk my life for a look at the falls. Actually, I just want to get my hands on some treasure I saw on the way there. Interesting. There's nothing to the west of here. And it's really dangerous. You shouldn't go that way. The currents are so strong near the falls that any boat caught in it is doomed. Alright. Is there anything here? No, there's not. So, there's actually a couple of things we can get here. For example, first off, as the guy right there mentioned, there's actually some treasure. And in order to get it, we first had to throw the stump here and then push the crate all over to the left. And also, you may have noticed that there is also a boulder up there, just like the one we saw in Treasure Isle, that we could do nothing about. And you may also be seeing that there doesn't seem to be anything past the boulder. That is because, well, depending on the save file that you're using, there may be something. For example, if you're playing using a save file in which you did not transfer save data from the original Golden Sun, or one in which you did, but you did not happen to collect all of the 32 gene in the original game, well, then there would be a Jupiter gene there. Pretty much a free gene in case you happen to miss a few on the original game. However, there is only one extra gene for every element, meaning that if you happen to trade over a save file in which you obtain 6 of every gene, then you'll be fine. If you happen to obtain 5 of every gene, then you're out of luck, and you will not gain access to the secret optional dungeon in the game. So yeah, the game does kinda throw you a bone, but it is not that generous with you. But anyways, here we have the treasure chest. And I just recalled that our inventory is full, so I want to see what I need to throw away. I'll throw away the water of life for now. Alright, let's see. We got some dragon skin. And similar to the tear stone, the stardust and the seal feather, it is also a forgeable material. And it is actually quite a unique one, because first off, it is the only forgeable material in the game which will not yield a weapon. All of the items that you can get from the dragon skins are pieces of equipment. So let's go over them, shall we? First off, we have the dragon boots. They have a forge value of 4200. The forge chance is 20%. They have a defense boost of 13, and their side effect is that they boost Venus, Mars and Mercury resistance by 10 points. Up next, we have the dragon helm. The forge value is 8900. There's a forge chance of 25%. They have a defense boost of 42 and they boost Mars and Mercury resistance by 20 points. The dragon mail has a forge value of 9700. It has a forge chance of 20% and the defense boost of 44, and its side effect is that it also boosts Mars and Mercury resistance by 15 points. Then we have the dragon robe. It has a forge value of 8900, a forge chance of 15%. It provides a defense boost of 42 and it also gives a boost to both Mars and Mercury resistance by 18 points. Then we have the dragon shield, which is not the same as the original dragon shield from the first game. It has a forge value of 7400, a forge chance of 20%, a defense boost of 42 and it boosts Mars and Mercury resistance by 15 points. Alright, we are done. So, at first it would seem that the Southwest Attica Inlet did not really give us that much information as to where to go next. But that is actually not quite the case, because, well, the key to progressing throughout the Great Western Sea, or at least to getting to Jupiter Lighthouse, lies with an item that we have been holding since the very beginning of the game. An item which nobody in our party has mentioned at all, and that item is the Shaman's Rod. This is an item that actually Felix got near the end of the first game, and it has not been mentioned since, but it is part of a prophecy that involved Master Hamet, Ivan, and the continent of Hesperia. Supposedly, one is to take the Shaman's Rod to the continent of Hesperia, and that would give that person a hint or a clue as to how to progress throughout Jupiter Lighthouse. So now that we know that this is the Southwest Attica Islet, we can infer that out of all of these two continents, this one is Attica, meaning that this one would have to be Hesperia. So the continent of Hesperia is going to be our next destination. Next time we're going to head here and see if we can find any use for the Shaman's Rod. See you guys